Hello everyone, welcome back to Valley Gaming and to another mid-war battle report. So again, I'm going to be officiating a game between Lukas and Tom. They played each other before, but now I can bring them back together during lockdown in this remote game using my models and my table. So should be good fun for them. So the game is Dogfight. And Lukas is attacking, and he has in front of him an allied force, of which we will take you through what he has. So he has a American parachute company. So this is from the All-American book, and he has quite a lot of them. He has a HQ of 2, and then he has 3 full platoons. So that's 7 rifle MG teams, and each has 2 bazookas as well, and a little mortar. Also in his formation are 4 81mm mortars. Now for the Allied formation, he has a Valentine armoured squadron, and he has a HQ of 3 Valentine 2s, and then he has 2 troops of 3 Valentine 2s. In support, he has 3 priests. Now Lukas did start off with 6 priests, but he managed to get him down to 3. And with them is a Stuart OP, and we also have 2 P40 Warhawks, which look very similar to Kitty Hawks, not at all using a proxy this game, and that is his list. So quite a lot of bases. We've been chatting on the WhatsApp group, and Tom is a little concerned about the amount of bases coming, and there are as well 4 templates from the paratroopers alone, plus a 5th from the priests, and I suppose you can call a 6 from the P40s as well, if they decide to drop their bombs. So fair bit for the Germans to deal with, so let's have a look what Tom has decided to defend with. And here we have Tom's defending German list, and he has gone for the 90th Light Rifle Company again. So in his formation we have a HQ of 2 SMG teams, and then we have 3 platoons of infantry, and as you can see, 3rd platoon still in their Grenadier Grey, because they've just been shipped over from the Eastern Front to bolster this company. So that's why they're in a different uniform and why their bases look different, that's all. So 2 of the platoons have a anti-tank gun, HMG and a mortar, so that brings them up to 7 bases each, and 3rd platoon has just the HMG and the anti-tank gun in addition, so that's just 6 bases, no mortars there. And we also have 3 anti-tank guns in the form of a 7.62cm guns, and that is it for the 90th Light. Now in support we have 3 captured 6-pounders, 3 Marders, 4 captured 25-pounders, and 4 Panzer IIIs. 2 are up armoured and 2 are just a short 5. And for command cards, Tom has taken the Panzerknacker card, always good. He's also taken diversionary tactics, and of course captured 25-pounders and captured 6-pounders. They might look like the German equipment, that's because they just modified the captured stuff to make it look like their own. And there we go. So that is 109 points both. Dogfight again, and Lukas is attacking and Tom is defending. So let's have a look at the board before we start marking out deployment zones. And here we have today's table. Again, use the axis of attack way of doing terrain, but mixed up a little bit, so fleshed out, because basically this entire edge by here was meant to have nothing, so I thought I'd just stick an airfield in the middle of it with a cluster of buildings for the support for the building. Although this airfield does look like it's been bombed, these Stukas are not going to be taken off at all this game, but I thought it'd be nice to add them along. But here we have. So what have we got for the terrain? So basically this end, just put a couple of dunes down. So basically just a terrain dash to get over it, but some tall terrain. Got some desert scrub. This is going to be loose sand, so no cross-check, it is just terrain test. But infantry cannot dig foxholes in it, unfortunately. So quite tricky if any infantry go over there. So yes, we have the airfield, so it's got some craters, some bulletproof cover, and got plenty of buildings with some tall walls, and plenty more buildings around here. So we have some escarpments, so it's like a hill, but obviously where the craggy bit is impassable, and then we have some rocky terrain, so we've got a nice impassable clump of rock by here, and then the rocky terrain, let's put this one back in his slot, is concealment and bulletproof cover for stationary infantry, and that's it. We do have a chance of a sandstorm coming in again, so at the start of every turn on a 5+ it will appear, and then once it's in on a 1, oh sorry, that's the wrong way around, so basically on a 1 it comes in and on a 5 it goes away. So if you remember the game with Sherry and Dave, it came in and then went away straight away. But that's the way those sandstorms worked, is they would come in and they would basically, day would turn to night, and then sometimes they would go as quick as they arrived. And there we have the board. I've rambled on long enough, so let's get these models on the table and get some dice rolling. So we are fully deployed. This is how Tom has put his defensive force down. In reserves we have the Panzer IIIs, the Marders and the 6-pounders, so they're going to have to be dragging their guns on at some point during the game. So let's have a look where we are. We have the 3rd platoon, that's the guys who've shipped over from the Eastern Front. They've been told, can you hold this left flank? I know it's a bit exposed, but there you go. So we've got a good little spread, and we have a team in the building. The anti-tank gun right in the centre with the heavy machine gun behind. We also have the captured 25-pounders immediately behind them. I haven't really got anything in the centre, but then this is where the nice little spread is. So we have 1st platoon moved up a little bit forward, scattered around, because Tom knows he's going to have a lot of templates to deal with. Haven't moved the marker yet for diversionary tactics. We do have one team in the building, one on the roof, and the mortar immediately behind, and that is 1st platoon. The HQ is, you can see his stand here, and the second in command is there. So they are within 6 inches of the unit leader of 1st platoon and 2nd platoon, which is right behind them. So a good deep spread of infantry, and as you can guess, the big anti-tank guns are in ambush. So let's have a look at the swarm that is coming. So we have the 82nd Parachute Division ready. So from left to right, 1st platoon, 2nd platoon, 3rd platoon, and then the mortars right behind. HQ is in between 1st and 2nd to give them their all needed rerolls. And nice and simple again for the Valentines, HQ at the front, then 1st troop and 2nd troop right behind. We have the priests hidden behind this hill, and the OP on the hill spotting for them. And of course, the Kitty Hawks being aircraft have to start off the table, and we'll see if they have anything to do with this game. And there we go, the wave of Americans ready to go against the scattering of the Africa Corps ready to repel them. So, attacker has 1st turn, good luck to him. We're all making a brew now ready, and we're off. So this is what the end of the movement phase looks like. Everything has dashed forward and has done some follow me's. All this cluster managed to pass. This over here didn't, and this is as far as they can dash up without being within 8 inches of an enemy unit. And as you can guess, no aircraft came in, and all the mortars got left behind to do what mortars do, and fire templates. So we're going into the shooting step, and let's see if Lukas can remove any of the Africa Corps. So we had a lot of artillery barrages. 1st platoon were happy where they were. They managed to hit the 2 IC and that rifle MG team. Tom failed his saves, but unfortunately Lukas didn't pass his firepower, so they both stayed there. 2nd platoon ranged in on the rocks and didn't hit anything. The 105 priests ranged in here again. Again, didn't hit anything because it was their 3rd attempt. The mortars ranged in where they originally were ranged in, but got a hit but no kills, and that was it. Sorry, 3rd platoon kept their ranged in by here but got no hits, and that is it. So now we're going into Tom's starting up steps. So you have your HQ, Tom, to rally.
Right, okay, so I'll just roll 2 dice.
Okay.
He's rally.
Okay, and then the last one is your first platoon.
Alright, first platoon, 3 and a 5, so they ride.
And that's it?
And then second platoon got pinned as well, I think.
Did they get hit?
Yeah, I think he hit me with a 60mm mortar.
Okay. So, and rally them.
A 2 and 4.
Okay, so they're fine.
Everything's active.
And Tom's rolling 2 dice because basically you get a reroll from the formation commander, so it just speeds things up. So here we're going into Tom's first turn. Before we forgot with the rest of the movement, Tom didn't want to put his ambush down. Only movement was third platoon have left their anti-tank gun and the HMG where they are, and they're making their way to this square building of which Tom has called his Alamo because it can hold this objective while he's in it. So we're going into shooting for Germans, and let's see if they can get rid of some of this horde steamrolling towards them.
Yeah.
So basically, the mortars for Tom did very well. The ranged in 25 pounders pinned the HQ, and second platoon took a few bases away, and then the second platoon's mortar ranged in and killed even more. First platoon mortar killed a rifle team up here, and then first platoon of the Africa Corps opened up their MGs and anti-tank guns and killed a lot more. So basically all that's left of second platoon is 2 bazooka teams and a unit leader. So as we go into Lukas's second turn, so I'll change the turn counter, you've got 3 pinned units.
Yeah.
So do you want to...
I'll start with first platoon, got the reroll from the HQ. They are fine.
Okay.
HQ himself, he's fine. And poor old second platoon, they passed it.
Okay. Excellent. So the last thing to do is to see if your aircraft are coming in.
Nope, that's the one.
No more aircraft. So we're going into turn 2.
Yeah.
So Lukas has gone into 3 of the minefields and is about to go into 4th. One of the minefields is going to be a dummy one because Tom felt it was a bit overpowered having 5 just because of the extra 9 points. So we will find out whether there's going to be the dummy one being stepped on at some point. So first platoon has gone into this minefield. They have triggered it, but no one died. And the scratchy remnants of second platoon have done the same and they triggered. Third platoon though have not, and all the Valentines have moved up. These guys into assault position, and I forgot I put this guy right on top of a minefield, so I put the minefield on top of him just so we remember. So this assault will now be a little bit more interesting, and that is it. Aircraft incoming again, as we know, so we're going to shooting. We had a lot of artillery coming down. Third platoon failed to range in over by here. We did have a casualty for the Africa Corps. The rifle MG team that was occupying here has gone down. Everything else opened up their rifles. Some even bazookas got some shots off, and then the Valentines opened up with their MGs. No kills, but basically all the infantry platoons here are all pinned, with a potential assault coming through a minefield. So let's see how this goes. If Lukas, are you going to assault?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we're doing it. Right, so we'll have a look at what happens after. So that was nice and easy for an assault. All 3 Valentines managed to navigate the minefield. Did get hit by the anti-tank gun, and Lukas rolled a 1 for his armour save, so it was all down to the firepower from Tom. But as you can see, there's no bailed out tokens because he rolled a 4 instead of a 5, and all 3 hit. Well, we're not sure, I can't remember if all 3 hit, but the anti-tank gun did indeed die, and then Tom decided not to counterattack. So these 2 guys went backwards outside of 6 inches, but they are within bulletproof cover because of the rocky outcrop, and the guy in the building has gone back into the courtyard. And that's where we're at the end of Lukas's turn. So going into Tom's turn, you've got your infantry to unpin.
Right. So,
And pin.
Second platoon, 6 and a 3, and then the HQ team, a 1 and a 4. So some good for our first motivation being dished out by the commander.
So that is the motivation step then. Not time yet for reserves. We have to wait another turn for that, unfortunately. But are you going to bring in your ambushes? Or everyone wants to know, Tom?
I will be placing my ambush.
Okay, so we'll have a look at that when we recap the movement step. So this is where the anti-tank guns came from. I've had to bring out the blue tack because Tom was insistent in putting on this escarpment. Did have them balanced, but I felt like the next thing to like drop onto this table, and they're gone, and these are metal, so I'd have to bring the super glue out. What else has moved? The guy who was in the courtyard has moved underneath the HMG, and that was it for the first platoon's movement. Second platoon movement, the anti-tank gun has moved to the left of the unit leader, and third platoon, everything is in this building minus the HMG that's moved and the anti-tank gun, which is staying over here. So that is it for movement for Tom and his Germans. So we're going into shooting to see if these anti-tank guns can get rid of some Valentines at long range. So for the shooting, a lot more ranging in again. First platoon starting to take some casualties now. They've taken 3 rifle team casualties. The teams in the soft sand, second platoon's misery is continuing. Their unit leader is now a bazooka, and they'll be last standing. The Russian anti-tank guns managed to knock out 2 Valentines from first troop, so first troop is also going to be last standing. So we're going into third turn for Lukas. Lukas, you've got again 3 bailed out, 3 pinned paratrooper teams.
Yep.
So first platoon, do you want to do that first with the reroll?
Yeah. They're all good.
Good. And then second platoon in the soft sand.
They've not got command reroll, have they?
No.
They failed to unpin.
Okay, and then you got third platoon.
Third platoon are good.
Okay, so now we're on to the last stand test. So do you want to do your paras first?
Yeah. Stick around.
Nice. And then your Valentine, who is out of range of the HQ.
We're out of range.
Yeah, the HQ is like way right in the front.
Oh, okay. 3, I don't think that's enough for them.
Yeah, they're just a 4+ for them. So he drives away. Okay, and then the last thing for you to do... Oh, we completely forgot about the sandstorm, so we'll just leave that. Yeah, that might have helped someone, but it doesn't matter. But let's go to see if your aircraft turn up.
Yeah. Hey, finally.
Nice, so the aircraft are in, and we're going into turn 3. So here come the very British looking Warhawks, right behind the AT guns. First platoon are hugging the rear of this escarpment, trying to get out into cover, apart from this guy who just cleared the minefield. These guys who are pinned, if they wanted to go backwards into bulletproof cover, would have had to trigger off a mine, and they can't dig in either because they're in the soft sand. First platoon managed to get rid of their minefield, so that's third platoon, and that guy is stuck over there, and then the rest are moving into the other minefield, of which they have not triggered. The Valentines have moved around and out of range of the anti-tank guns, and these guys are going to stay put because they don't want to trigger anything. And that is it for movement for the Americans, and now we're going into their shooting. So this basically sums up what Lukas did in his shooting step. Is a smoke bombardment 16 inches, which is the perfect length from that building to the escarpment, has gone down to protect the guys coming up. The only other thing that happened was the Warhawks opened up their 50 cals onto the anti-tank guns, got 3 hits, but then Tom got 3 saves. So in Tom's turn 3, he has no motivations because nothing got pinned again. But we do have 1 dice for reserves, Tom.
The 6.
Nice, but where do they come on from? But what are you bringing on first?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it'll have to be with Panzers.
Okay, and then...
Yeah. So,
Right.
I've rolled a 4.
So that is the back edge.
Back edge.
But anywhere along that, so I suppose it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
so we'll bring them on in the movement step and we'll see where we're at. So the Panzerstrees have dashed on right by here to support the infantry on this objective. The only other movement was 3rd Platoon have put 2 Rifle MG teams into this building. The rest are over here, and the HMG is on the roof, and the anti-tank gun has been given his orders to catch up with the rest of them and drag that AT behind them. So that's where the Germans moved to. I suppose the only firing is going to be some pot shots from the HMG and the artillery firing blindly into the wall of smoke. And there we go. So with Tom's limited firing, he rearranged in the 25 pounders and killed the 1 base on it. So he got left behind to clear a minefield, and then the artillery got him. That was it for the artillery. The HMG did have a couple of shots but got nothing. So going into Lukas's turn 4, the smoke dissipates, revealing the Valentines in front of the German positions and the paratroopers close behind. So what we do have though is 1st Platoon that is pinned but has a reroll.
Yep. They are good.
2nd Platoon in the soft sand that need a rally test as well.
So they failed to unpin again.
And then they have a last stand as well.
And they've had enough.
Yeah, they've had enough.
Too many losses.
So they go, and their little mortar behind goes with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they took a bit of a beating. And then the last thing for Lukas to do in his startup step is to see whether the aircraft are coming in again.
No.
That's it. So into the movement step. So here we go. It's crunch time for the Allies. The Valentines all moving up. As you can guess which one failed to do his cross-check. Give you a clue, it might be this guy. The paratroopers from 3rd Platoon, after getting rid of their minefield, are pushing up. And these guys have appeared behind the edge of the escarpment with more Valentines. So here comes the very Russian-esque Anglo-American force coming for 1st Platoon that has to bear the brunt of this. So here we go, shooting. So the priests have dropped their smoke bombardment right by here. The mortar teams then tried to range in on the edge of this building to try and pin down 1st Platoon. They failed in all 3 attempts. And then with all the rifle, bazookas and machine guns, Lukas got 1 hit. So they're unpinned as everything decides which one's going in first. So here we go, assault for Lukas. Okay, so the assault is over, and I think we had about 10 successful counterattacks on this rifle platoon and the Valentines, and the casualties at the end of it after the rifle platoon failed their counterattack is a bailed out Valentine. That's what happened, and even with Panzerknackers, it was just the Valentines couldn't hit anything, and the infantry couldn't penetrate the Panzer IIIs, while these paratroopers just watched on, not really knowing what's going on and not contributing anything. Lukas did have an opportunity to assault the HQ, but he had 3 pinned down rifle MGs, the SMGs in that unit, the heavy machine gun, and also 2 Panzer IIIs. So Lukas did the right thing and didn't do it. Does have his smoke there to help him out a bit. But that is how this turn ends. Well, Lukas's turn anyway, with the HQ Valentine sitting on the objective. So very interesting. So going into Tom's turn, you have your pinned down platoon that broke off from the assault.
He's popped off, Rob.
Oh, okay, right, we'll wait for him to come back.
Assault.
Yeah, so you just have the pinned down first platoon.
Yeah, so 2 dice, a 6 and a 3, so they're pinned.
And then you have 2 dice for reserves.
And then reserves, no, I'm 1 and 4.
Nice. Okay, so we're going into movement for the Germans on their 4th turn. So this is the end of movement for Tom. 2 of the Panzer IIIs have moved into the rocky outcrop right on top of the objective, and the other 2 are right next to his infantry. This platoon are moving along as well, 1st platoon, and the infantry and 3rd platoon are on the roof to do some shooting while Tom decides where he's going to range in stuff, where he's going to leave some stuff. And we realised, just double check with everyone, if Tom did range in on that mortar from 3rd platoon, that would pin all of 3rd platoon, which is interesting. But yeah, just everyone check that to see if an FAQ hasn't been done on that. But there we go. So we're going into Tom's shooting. German shooting, the 25 pounders ranged in just beyond this wall. Clipped these 2, so they're pinned. 1st platoon and 3rd platoon opened up onto them, killed I think 2 bases here, so they were definitely pinned. The Panzer IIIs mowed down the paratroopers, killing another 2 and pinning them. The HQ is pinned because the mortar was already ranged in by there, and it also took out the 2 IC. And that is where we end the shooting step, and we're going to see if Tom is going to be doing any assaults.
Much appreciated.
So, Tom is not assaulting, and we're going into turn 5 for the Americans, well, the Anglo-Allied Alliance, the Anglo-American Alliance, shall I say. So starting off, we have a bailed out Valentine that gets a reroll.
Yep. He's back, 5 and a 4.
Nice. And then we have a total of 3 pinned units, your HQ, 1st platoon and 3rd platoon.
Yep, we'll start 1st platoon with a reroll. They are good. The HQ with a reroll. They're good. And 3rd platoon, get 6, they're good.
Okay, so that is everything unpinned and no last stands. So last thing for Lukas to roll is whether these aircraft turn up again.
Yep.
They're in. So we're going into Allied turn 5. The aircraft are here going for these guys on the roof because unfortunately all of the targets Lukas would want to go for are within 8 inches of his unit, so that is danger close for aircraft. So even for the MGs they can't be targeted, which isn't very like the Americans. I'm pretty sure they would have just hosed down everything down there anyway. What else has happened is 1st and 2nd platoon have dug in. The mortar, trying to catch up, has moved tactical behind the escarpment. The HQ failed to dig in, so he's just gone to ground unless Lukas decides to fire. And the Valentine that couldn't get into the rocky outcrop is now in. And that is where we end movement for turn 5. It's a bit of a standoff over this objective with not really anyone being able to kill anyone tank-wise, apart from the paratroopers who seem to be dropping like flies at the moment. So we're going into shooting, and let's see what Lukas can do. With the shooting, quite a few teams have ranged in here. Got a pin on 1st and 3rd platoon, but no kills. The priests ranged in right by here, got first time, so that is time on target for the Americans. So anyone doesn't know that, if you range in your first time, it's treated as a repeat. So managed to kill 1 of these, so the 80 guns are pinned. Not much happened anywhere else apart from 1 rifle MG team died from 1st platoon, and unfortunately the build-up of armour here has led to a bit of a stalemate. No one is prepared to assault. So it's down to the MGs and the anti-tank guns. These Valentines fired point blank range at the Panzer IIIs, but they just got bounced because these are all Valentine 2s with 87. And now we go into Tom's startup step. So you have 3 pinned units. You have 1st platoon, 3rd platoon, and the AT guns.
Yeah, okay, so the AT guns, roll a 5.
So they unpin.
1st platoon, no, they're pinned.
But you get a reroll.
I failed it as well.
Okay, and then you got 3rd platoon.
And then 3rd platoon, they're unpinned.
And then you've got 3 dice, for reserves.
Yeah, 2 6s.
Okay, and then you have to roll to see where they come from.
Okay, so the Marders are 6.
So let me check. That is your right hand side, Tom.
Yay! And then the 6-pounders are 2.
So that's the opposite side.
Oh, they won't be doing much then.
Okay, but yeah, so I think this is anywhere on the side edge of your deployment, so they it doesn't even matter about the side bit of the Valentines, but yeah, they can come in by there. So we'll go into that for German movement. Here have come the Marders, coming from this angle so they can take on the Valentine HQs with all the other big guns, and here come the 6-pounders being dragged by the infantry, wondering why they've come on from this side of the table when everything is over by here. But apart from that, the Marders did come in on the right place, so Tom did get a good roll. Only other movement is 3rd platoon are on the move, getting into maybe get to grips with their opposite 3rd platoon, staying outside of danger close of the artillery template, and more importantly getting away from the mortars ranged in on them. And that is movement, and now let's see what Tom can do and hopefully end this stalemate on this objective. Okay, so in the shooting, all the big guns opened up on the Valentine HQ, killed 2, bailed the other, so the Panzer IIIs had a go, got 1 potentially double bail, but it didn't happen, and again both platoons are pinned down again for the paras, and I don't think anything got killed this turn apart from the Valentines. So we're in Lucas's 6th turn now, and he has a bailed out HQ tank.
Yep. So 2 dice to remount. Well, re-rolling, he fails to remount.
Ooh. So he's bailed out.
But HQ's can never take last chance, can they?
No, they you'll stay there. So your formation isn't broken yet. Is it broke?
No.
Okay, it's not broke, so the Valentines stay for now. But then Lukas has 2 platoons that are pinned, so he has 1st platoon with its reroll.
Yeah, they unpinned, no problem.
And 3rd platoon.
They unpinned as well.
Nice.
That was both threes, that.
Okay, and we have no last stands to do, and we're good for turn 6 movement. Aircraft have not come in, and only movement is Lukas has managed to get all 3 of his Valentines in to potentially have an assault, since the Valentines will probably not be here much longer. But first of all, we have shooting. Pretty much all the artillery minus the priests have ranged in here, and they have got rid of the HMG now. The priests, however, all they managed to do was pin down 2nd platoon, and as the Valentines went in, they fired their main guns at the Panzer IIIs, and they did kill 1, so they might as well just stay there and popped off at them, but it's done now and we're ready for assaults. And again, Lukas has to pass all of his cross checks to get in there, so fingers crossed for him, and off we go. So unfortunately, 2 of the Valentines did not get through the terrain, and then the one that did got bailed out by a Panzer III. So Lukas is back where he started, but in a precarious position. So going into Tom's turn 6, he has 1st and 2nd platoon pinned down, and that is it. Tom?
Oh, he just went off again for a second.
Oh, he's gone off again, right, so wait for him to return.
They unpin.
So 1st platoon is unpinned,
And they unpin as well.
and 2nd platoon is unpinned. And there's no last stands, and all of Tom's reserves are already on, so we're straight into movement. Only movement we had this turn, 3rd platoon moved into the building into assault range onto 3rd platoon, and these guys did a cross country dash and a follow me, so quite decent distance they're covering now. Now they're on the board, and as Tom said, this is all about the Valentine duel, and the Marders can see them from where they are, and so can the anti-tank guns. So we're going into shooting on turn 6. Killing time. The HQ tank is gone, but the formation commander is swapped. Not that it matters, because that formation is done. 1st platoon is pinned again. I think they lost nothing, and then 3rd platoon took a bit of a battering this turn again, pinned, and I lost 2 bases, I believe. And now we're going into an assault. That is the end of the assault. Unfortunately, the Valentine couldn't get any defensive fire because he would be firing through his bailed out comrade, and the paratroopers did get some hits but no kills, and their rifle team killed all 3 of remaining 3rd platoon, so they're gone now, and then they consolidated back into the building. So in turn 7, startup step for Lukas. He has a bailed out Valentine that does get a reroll because of his formation commander.
Well, he's back in.
So he's back in, so that's less bulletproof cover. And then you have a pinned 1st platoon with a reroll.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And so there's no last stands, but there is a formation last stand as the Valentines drive away. Somehow really quickly, because they get off the board, which is quicker than their normal 8-inch tactical. So that is that for motivation. So we're going into movement again. Again, all the infantry teams here are pinned. The HQ team got wiped out by a mortar, but he is successfully swapped. The priests managed to get a hit on the Panzer IIIs, and there was a potential bail, but it didn't happen. And then the bazooka fired at one of the softer Panzer IIIs, but Tom rolled a 6, bouncing it. So Lukas is now having a little think about whether he's going to end his turn or just shove the paratroopers in and wish something happens. So I'll give him 10 minutes and then we'll get back to it. Okay, so in the shooting, we've done the shooting step. We are not going with any assaults in the end. So we're still stuck in this stalemate. So going into turn 7, Tom has 3 teams to unpin. He has his HQ, 1st platoon, 2nd platoon and 1st platoon are last standing now as well.
Okay, so HQ is unpinned. Now, I think unfortunately he's not in range of the other platoons now.
He's in range of 1st platoon.
Okay, so 1st platoon, they're unpinned. 2nd platoon, they're pinned down. They failed to rally.
And then you have your last stand.
And then last stand, 1st platoon. Yeah, they're still with it. We can see victory.
Nice. German movement, 3rd platoon is coming across. They seem to be the paratroop hunters at the moment. The tank hunters are slowly pushing over as well, and the Panzer IIIs did a blitz and have moved backwards, which now makes it capable for the Marders to not tank hunt but para hunt onto these poor paratroopers. So we're going to shoot in on turn 7 for Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, so the shooting has ended. The bazooka is gone, and that was it. First platoon is pinned yet again, and the HQ is unscathed. So going into Lucas's turn 8, you have a rally test to do on your para platoon,
They do, they're hungry for more.
and then they have a last stand test.
Yeah, they're good.
And then they will remember to roll it on screen this time. Do your Air Force turn up?
They do.
Interesting. Here we go. As we go into Allies turn 8. So this is what is left of the parachute company minus their mortars at the back. They moved into assault range. The Air Force has been tasked to get rid of the Panzer IIIs, and the artillery is on standby to try and get rid of the Marders as they try to go for the HQ stand and possible glory. So here we go. Will it work? So we went straight into the assault step after the shooting. The second platoon got pinned again, but no other casualties. Panzer IIIs were intact, but Lukas just went for it, and they all died. We didn't even do the shooting for the MG rifle team and the anti-tank gun. But yeah, so it is a stunning victory for Tom. So we'll have a look at the casualties. So this is the casualties for the Allied army. These 3 Valentines did drive off though, so I suppose we can still count them. And our HQ drove off as well. So yeah, a lot of Americans. And then this is the German casualty pile. Quite a small amount really, but yeah, very good game. Really interesting watching these two play in this little valley of death over here. But yeah, we'll have a little catch up chat with them now, and hope you enjoyed. Check a little subscribe button down on the bottom, and oh yeah, really looking forward to the Gazala Firestorm campaign, which at this point in time has not been released yet, but no doubt by the time this comes out we'll be about 2 weeks into it, so definitely be having some videos for that. So everyone stay safe, and ciao for now.